What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Derek from the Burgundy Boss Podcast, back here with another one. As we see a not so shocking game go on Monday night between two division rivals, a family affair. It is the Minnesota Vikings taking on the Chicago Bears as they conquer them in easy fashion. Justin Jefferson proving once again why he's a top 10 receiver in the league. And I mean, nobody can seem to stop him to this point. He's playing out of his mind. The Bears really proving that they're really just a young team. That they are just a young team, and that's it really. I mean, so many personal fouls on their part tonight. So many times it was mistake after mistake. But before I get too far ahead, let's go back and let's recap my keys to this game. So I said Chicago must utilize David Montgomery. Well, kinda, but not really. I also said they must limit Justin Jefferson, which they did not do. I mean, they limited him as far as yards go, but they still let him in the end zone. So, I mean, and he scored more touchdowns by himself than they did as a team in this one. So that's not really limiting Justin Jefferson, in my opinion. And then on to my next point. I said Minnesota must key in on Justin Jefferson and Dalvin Cook and ride those two to victory tonight. That's pretty much what they did. They used Justin Jefferson to get up on the scoreboard. And then after that, they rode Dalvin Cook the rest of the way, and they allowed him to take over the game for him. So, hey, kudos to Minnesota on that one. You utilized the key to the game. And defensively, I said you've got to limit David Montgomery and Justin Jefferson and their running ability. And they did that. They really did that in this one. And part of this was Chicago being a young team and, still trying to figure things out. I mean, Matt Nagy looks like he's 1 foot out of the door. I mean, they went like 0 for 4 in the red zone. It appeared like every time that they got in the red zone and, they would struggle. And it was drop pass, bad throw, wrong location, miscommunication. Every time they were in the red zone, they went for it every time on fourth down in the red zone. Matt Nagy's, he doesn't care. He's like, we're just going to go for it. We got nothing to lose. Let's go for it. And they went for it, and they failed every single time. And they kind of got lucky during garbage time at the end. They, kind of got a last-second touchdown, which made it 17-9. But it really didn't count for anything. It was a garbage time touchdown. Minnesota was kind of like, whatever, That hit though, that hit on Justin Jefferson, that was a big time hit. That hit that Justin Fields got laid on him by Eric Kendricks. That was a big time hit, and I stand by that ejection because he could have pulled up, and instead he crouched down, leaned forward, and exploded into Justin Fields as he was sliding. I mean, he wanted that hit. He was going to punish Justin Fields for running on that very play. So, in this one, Justin Fields, he did okay. I mean, he's a young quarterback. He's still figuring things out. He's getting pretty good at the whole improvise, using his legs. Justin Fields is scary fast. He is fast that he reminds me when he runs of 2012 RG3. They don't use him the same. They use him as a pass first guy, but that's what he reminds of when he breaks the pocket and runs out, and he runs along that left sideline. That's what he looks like. He looks like 2012 RG3, and he's got to get on the same page with all his receivers. He's got to be more accurate with the football. I saw quite a few throws tonight that were just wild throws. He had a touchdown to Cole Kmet in the back of the end zone after he had scrambled to the left. And instead of putting it in front of Cole Kmet, where away from the defender, where Cole Kmet can make an easy reception on the play, he throws it back behind him. Patrick Peterson is right there. He sticks his arm in there and breaks it up. And I mean, if that ball placement is everything in the National Football League, because the windows are much tighter for these quarterbacks. Next guy I want to talk about is David Montgomery. Man, this guy is a workhorse. He is out here trying to get everything done for this team, and kudos to him. Like, he's making great catches out of the backfield. He's taking the ball between the tackles and just churning those legs. He's trying to make things happen, but the supporting cast that he has around him, it is not what it should be. Akeem Hicks also is another guy I want to talk about. Akeem Hicks is he moves super well for a guy his size. I mean, to be 330 pounds and to be, ripping around tackles and turning the corner and laying it into Kirk Cousins like he was tonight. Like, that man is insane, his abilities. Also, Thomas Graham, rookie out of Oregon. Last year in the preseason, before I started any of my draft stuff, I started looking, and every time I looked down, there was another Oregon DB on that list. I was like, Oregon's going to have a really good year. All these DBs on the preseason All-American list, okay. And then by the end of the season, I mean, they're talking about, maybe one of them even getting drafted. Like, wow, they must have had a rough year. And I still liked them because they all tested well and they all seemed to play pretty well. And you're seeing it now in the NFL. You've got Javon Holland out in Miami who's playing lights out. And Thomas Graham, he stepped up tonight and he made a heck of a play on a couple of occasions, sticking in there with Mooney or whoever, or even the tight end. Sometimes they stuck him on. I mean, he was conquering it. And it was insane what he was doing tonight. And as a rookie, and on the other side, they had Kendall Vildor. I mean, insane things they were doing. Now, let's step on the other side of this thing. Let's talk about the Minnesota Vikings. Defensively, I mean, there's not really a lot to talk about. They were okay. They've got a stud on that D-line and DJ Wonham. That man is playing just like Daniil Hunter. Just like Daniil Hunter never even left. He's freak flying around the edge, super athletic, bending the corner, getting to the quarterback, forcing Justin Fields to run backwards 20 yards to fumble it. I mean, he's playing really good football. I mean, everybody else is just playing solid. Harrison Smith is his usual self. Patrick Peterson, I mean, he's a shell of himself, but he's still playing pretty good football. I mean, you've seen him out there tonight covering tight ends and locking down tight ends. So I was like, okay, all right. I see you, Patrick Pete. And on the offensive side for Minnesota, I kind of touched on it a little bit. Kirk Cousins, man, he is that perfect middle of the pack quarterback. He's the perfect game manager. I mean, I've been saying this since he was in Washington. I know a lot of you, especially you guys that watch this that are Washington fans, get tired of hearing about Kirk Cousins, but he's not going to lose you the game, but he's not going to win you the game. He's going to take care of the football just enough to not lose you the game. And, if you've got playmakers out there, that he can make some plays. But he's not going to put you over the top. He's not going to be the reason, you make a deep playoff run. He's going to just go in there, do his job, plain and simple. Saw tonight he had some boneheaded plays. I thought that the refs missed a big call on the Bears defense, Justin Jefferson was wide open, and he got tugged down, and they didn't call it. It was that pick he had over the middle where the DB just had nobody around him, and he just picked it off. Justin Jefferson was wide open, but he got yanked down. But and speaking of the man, the myth, the legend himself, Justin Jefferson, he's playing good football right now. Like I, I definitely say he's a top 10 wide receiver in the NFL right now, potentially top 5. I mean, as much as I hate to say it, like I would put him above Terry McLaurin, and Terry McLaurin is a stud. So I mean, but what Justin Jefferson is doing in Minnesota is borderline insane. I mean, he almost beat out Justin Herbert last year for Rookie of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year. I mean, what he's doing is, like I said, insane. Last guy I want to talk about is Dalvin Cook. I mean, Dalvin Cook just does what needs to be done, plain and simple. He goes out there, he carries the rock as many times as it needs carried, and he gets solid yardage. I mean, he had a great game tonight. I believe Dalvin Cook is currently leading the NFC in rushing yards, and I believe behind him is Antonio Gibson by quite a few yards. I think it's over 100 yards. So we'll see what happens. I know this was kind of a quicker video, but I'm gonna get out of here. This is your guy, Burgundy Boss. I plan on putting out my Philly preview tomorrow. I wanted to get some more of the injury information in before I put out that Philly preview. So tune in tomorrow. I will have the Philly preview up. Probably put it out around noon. So tune in to find out about the Philly game and my thoughts, my predictions, my keys to the game. I'll really go in depth with that Washington game. Until next time, peace.